Welcome to the Raising Confident Girls podcast, your guide to raising strong, confident daughters. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and a teacher for over 20 years. In a world where girls often feel overwhelmed, anxious, and confused, this podcast is your go-to space. As caregivers, we navigate challenges together. I founded Girls Positivity Club to provide a place where you belong and get the tools to face today's hurdles. Consider this your regular check-in with a trusted friend, offering insights and practical tips for meaningful conversations. I'm here to help you feel confident on this journey of raising a generation of empowered girls. Let's dive in and raise those confident girls together. Hey everybody, it's Melissa and welcome back to Raising Confident Girls. I want to start with a moment that a lot of parents experience, myself included, but don't always know what to do with. You're at home, maybe you're in the kitchen, maybe you're driving, maybe you're just trying to connect for a minute, and you say something simple like, "How was your day?" And she shrugs, "Fine." So you try again. "What'd you do today?" "Nothing." And you can feel it, that wall. So you try one more time. "Did anything interesting happen?" And she says, "Mom, can you just stop?" And you pause. Because it's not that she's being mean, but it does feel like she's pushing you away. Or maybe it looks like this. You're sitting near her. She's drawing or playing with something or just sitting there. You start a conversation. Short answers. Barely anything back. So eventually you stop trying. And then a little while later, she starts talking. Tells you something random, something small, something from earlier. And you're sitting there wondering, wait, now you want to talk? Or maybe it's not even the words. Maybe it's the tone. You ask something simple and get, "Oh, I don't know." Or, "Why are you asking me so many questions?" I get that all the time with my teenager. And suddenly you're thinking, that escalated quickly. And this is where it gets confusing because it's not consistent. Sometimes she wants you, sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she opens up, sometimes she shuts down. And you're trying to find out, am I doing something wrong? Should I be asking more or less? Should I give her space or lean in more? And if we're being honest, sometimes it can feel a little personal, even if we know it's probably not. And I know for me as a parent, I can get my feelings hurt easily when I get reactions like this. But what I want to teach you today is different ways to think about it and practical things that you can try with your daughter and the girls in your life if you come across this at any time. The first thing is pushing away is about control, not connection. So when a girl starts pulling back, it doesn't mean they don't want connection. It often means they want more control over how it happens. For a younger girl, this can look like, "Go away," but then follows you into another room. For an older girl, she can shut down a conversation, but come back later and start talking like nothing happened. So it looks like push away, come back, push away again. What's actually happening is she's figuring out, when do I want to talk? How do I want to talk? How much control do I have here? And what parents often do is we take it personally because we love them. And we also can push harder, or we can want to try to get her back. What helps instead is to say, "Okay, we don't have to talk right now," and then actually release it. This is the hardest thing for me because I don't want to release it. I want it resolved right then. But what I've found is when you give the space, it always turns out better than forcing. You release it, not halfway, not with another question right after, just, "Okay, I'm here if you want to talk later." And then shift the energy. Talk about something else. Sit near her. Keep things normal. Because sometimes what keeps connection open isn't continuing the conversation. It's not making it feel like she has to stay in it. The second thing I want you to think about is that timing matters more than the question. And believe me, I have gotten the timing wrong more times than not. Sometimes it's not what you're asking, it's when you're asking it. And maybe you've waited for them to come home, or you've really missed them that day and you really just want to connect with them. Maybe you've had a hard day and you just want to connect with the people you love most. And they're not ready for that yet. Right after school is when I've done this, and oftentimes it's ended the worst. When she's tired, overstimulated, done talking for the day because, she's just come home and she's ready to just decompress for a little bit. She's done talking, and then we ask, "How's your day?" and get, "Fine." What parents can do next is we can try again. That's what I have always done. If I get fine, and I try not to start with, "How was your day?" I try to start with something more open-ended, but you can still get one-word answers. So we try again, then again, then again, because we want connection, especially in that moment. What it can feel like to her is pressure, even if that's not our intention in the slightest bit. What helps instead is when we shift the timing. Later, during a snack time, at bedtime, a side-by-side activity. Then we can try, what was one part of your day that stood out? Or what was the funniest thing that happened today? Or even, something about today felt off earlier. What was that about? Because when the timing is right, you don't need as many questions. And look, if you mess up and you go for it right away, and I've done that a million times, you can always come back to it later, or you can always come back and repair later and say, "Hey, I wasn't trying to, ask you right away a million questions. I just really wanted to know about your day. So I know that could feel a little off for you when I asked. And so I just wanted to check in again and just see if we can try again." Sometimes that repair can make such a huge difference. And sometimes we don't even have to say any of that. We just let it breathe, and then we come back later and we try again. The third thing I want you to think about is the more it feels like pressure, the more she can pull back. This is one of the biggest dynamics happening, and most parents don't even realize it. You ask, "How was your day?" "Fine." "What did you do?" "Nothing." "Did you have recess?" "Yeah." And now it feels like question, question, question. My family calls this machine gun questioning. What's happening is you're trying to connect and she's feeling pressure. What helps instead is, so let's say you're in that moment. You've already asked a couple questions. She's shutting down. You can feel yourself want to keep going. Here's what that could look like instead. You pause. You take a breath and you say, "We don't have to talk about it right now." And then you stop completely. Not, "But just tell me one more thing." Not, "Okay, but did anything happen?" You actually stop. And that's the part that's hard. It is the hardest part for me. But it's also the part that works, because connection grows when pressure goes down. The fourth thing is that connection happens in unplanned moments. This has happened so many times to me, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I did not expect this to happen. And a lot of times for me, it's in the kitchen. or it's in the car. And I might be making dinner because I'm the one in my family who cooks for my family most of the time. And my son also likes to cook. But, you can't always plan those connection times. But it oftentimes is when you're in the kitchen and your teenager comes in and they hang out. And you just naturally start talking. Sometimes you don't even initiate it, but you're standing there thinking, okay, this is good. Like we're actually talking and we didn't even have to try that hard. Or you're driving in the car and yes, most of the time they can be doing other things. They might be on a tablet. They might have their headphones in or whatever. And all of a sudden they start talking. Maybe it's after a practice or after something, or you're going somewhere. One of the hardest parts of this stage of connection happening in unplanned moments is this. Connection doesn't happen always when you plan it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes we can plan some connection times and it does work and we do connect. But it always, in my experience, is the most surprising when you didn't even try that hard and it just happens naturally. These are often in real moments. She opens up when you're folding laundry, when you're driving, right before bed. This seems to be the time when they think about everything because it's quiet, dark, they've done their nighttime routine, they're settled, and now they're thinking. It can also happen when you're in the middle of something else. Now is when we have to think, okay, this is happening. Not when you sit down and ask. What this means is that connection isn't gone. It's just showing up differently. And what parents can do is when you notice that she starts talking, stay. No matter what she's talking about, just stay. Don't redirect. Don't fix. Don't rush it, even if it's inconvenient. Because those moments matter more than the planned ones. And there's one more piece of this that's really, really important. When your daughter pulls away, it can feel like you're losing connection. But most of the time you're not. You're just in a season where connection looks different. It's less predictable, less on your terms, less obvious, but it's still there. And part of parenting at this stage is learning to trust that connection hasn't gone away. It's changing shape. If this is something you're experiencing, one question to hold on to is, am I trying to create connection or control when it happens? One of the things I want you to remember is this. Just because connection doesn't look the way it used to, doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's changing. And when we adjust with it, instead of pushing against it, we often find that connection comes back in ways we didn't expect. You're not doing this wrong. You're navigating a new stage. And your presence in it, even when it feels messy, is what helps her feel safe enough to come back. And if this is something you're navigating, I also did an episode called You're Not Missing It, even when she doesn't talk much. That one will help you understand what's happening underneath this a little more. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining another empowering episode of the Raising Confident Girls podcast. Share today's insights with caregivers and friends, building beautiful relationships with strong girls. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. Follow Girls Positivity Club on social media for more empowering content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This podcast empowers you, supporting incredible girls. Let's create strong, beautiful relationships with the girls in our lives. I appreciate you listening today. Stay confident, stay connected. Until next time, keep raising those confident girls. You've got this.